What is up, everybody? In this video today, I'll be talking about the weekly outlook for this upcoming week, July 20th to July 24th. And in this video, I'm going to be going over, earnings, news, and setups we'll be looking at coming into this week, right? This week is absolutely packed with earnings, so we have to understand that and what setups to kind of look for. So in this video, I'm going to be going over it, right? And I'm going to keep this video short, right? Very short and very information packed. So in this next, 5 to 7 minute video, I'm going to be going over, what you have to know coming into this week, essentially. So let's get into the video. So for earnings, right, we have some important earnings this week. So we have Wednesday, we have Tesla and Google, which are going to be very important earnings on Wednesday after hours. We have Intel on Thursday after hours as well. So this will be important for semiconductors, right? Google will be important for AI. Tesla will be important for, overall the indices and also just tech in general, right? And then for Tuesday, we have some banks reporting like Ally and Charles Schwab. So otherwise, besides those, I don't really see anything else important, right? Yeah, I don't really see anything else important, right? And yeah, so earnings absolutely stacked, but now let's get into news, right? So news, there's not really any news this week, which is kind of unusual. But again, the only important news we have is going to be Thursday unemployment claims. Otherwise, there's no news. But the earnings is so packed that there will be volatility this week, especially after Wednesday. So what do I expect coming into this week, right? We have a no news one. We have a no news Monday and no important earnings on Monday. So I expect Monday and Tuesday to be slow. I expect Wednesday to be slow as well. And what do we expect? Thursday, Friday to have momentum because then we're going to have Tesla and Google earnings out of the way. So again, be more defensive Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, aggressive on Thursday and Friday. Is that simple, right? Um, and yeah, so now let's go into setups and see what kind of we can expect to play and what levels we want to see on names. So again, we're back in a lot of these names have been in the exact same range for the past couple of weeks. So this is pretty much the same exact stuff over and over again. But that's the market we're in, so we have to talk about it, right? So Microsoft, right? I'm gonna be looking to play this name above 400, right? With the momentum of buyers reclaiming 400, just because we are showing some nice higher highs and higher lows at bullish higher time frame, right? So we're bouncing off this previous area of support, and Microsoft is clearly showing strong buyers maintaining that. So if Microsoft can get above 400 and we show strong price action or above a previous high level, which I don't really expect us to be above, but it's possible, right? Then I want to play Microsoft calls simply above 400, right? Now let's go over some other setups, right? Well, let me full screen this. So again, Apple, right? Absolutely bullish higher time frame. This name, right? I do expect a pullback at this name soon, but if we don't, then again, if we don't show any pullbacks on names, guys, then the setup is always going to be the same, right? If we don't show any major pullbacks, we're just going to play simply a break and retest up either this pre-market high level or this previous high level. It just depends where we show that reaction from. And then if we do make that next higher high, then we can play that higher high for that next leg up on Apple, right? So Apple, we can keep an eye out for this neck coming into this week because it is showing kind of relative strength compared to the overall markets and tech. So this name does look good. Otherwise, if you do show a pullback, right, I expect a reaction around this order block right here, or we can show a deeper reaction around this pretty much this entire consolidation zone as well. So we do have some kind of bigger pullbacks we can see on Apple, but let's just see what happens, right? Otherwise, we do have two scenarios, right? Either we show momentum above previous high level and we can play that momentum, or we show a deeper pullback and we can play that potentially as well, right? So Apple, now let's talk about NVIDIA, right? NVIDIA, so this NVIDIA, right, is not, so again, NVIDIA, nothing really high probability, we're just within range, right? So again, if you're gonna be playing this name, only make sure you're playing if the name is showing relative strength or relative weakness, right? Otherwise, there's no really point of playing this name in chop. You're not going to get really big wins on this name unless we're showing some bullish price action, right? If there's context, then you can technically play this name, right? Right? If we could say, for example, like Friday, there is some context, right? You could technically play this reclaim of this VWAP because we did show a big reaction on SPY QQ, having that big drop, right? Tech and memory had a big drop, so this kind of dip and rip was in place. So context does kind of matter on these names. But again, for a higher time frame, right, nothing really too amazing. So there's no really kind of point to talking about this. I'm gonna be honest, right? Again, technically you can look for shorts underneath this pre-market low, but Tesla is kind of holding this 200 level very nicely. We can kind of see in pre-market session, we did show strong buy stuff at that 200 level. So Tesla is still technically holding market structure. So we're not technically bearish yet, right? I would say NVIDIA is bearish under 200 and we're still bullish above 200. So again, we can keep it at this name forward calls, but again, it's just not going to be high probability because there is a very big kind of previous days range on this name, right? But yeah, Google, right? Google, this name is earnings. So again, I'm not going to kind of praise name to be honest, but again, this name is having pretty wild swings. But yeah, I'm not looking to place name, so I'll just skip this. Google, let's talk about Amazon. Amazon as well, right? Just kind of bouncing off the area of support as well, right? And yeah, I mean, on Amazon, right? Like this name on options is usually very choppy, so I'm just not gonna play his name as well. Like let's just be straight. Let's just be honest, right? This name is usually trash price action unless we're in a very momentum markets or the higher time frame is bullish, and this has neither. So Amazon trash, right? Let's talk about SpaceX, right? So SpaceX is actually looking very bearish, right? So technically, this actually does look good for shorts, right? Guys, playing with the trend is the easiest kind of strategy ever, and so this name is very bearish. So technically, you can literally play SpaceX coming into his weak puts, right? We clearly look very bearish, and so this name does look good to short. I'm gonna be honest, it does look good to short. And so, what kind of level can we look to short SpaceX into? Because we technically don't have any levels, right? So again, when you're kind of shorting names with no levels, you kind of have to use whole numbers. So the next level on 124 on SpaceX would be 120. Right now, targeted 116. Right, simply hold levels. But I expect SpaceX to have a strong reaction on that 100 key level. So honestly, with the kind of trend we're showing on SpaceX, I expect this to kind of keep bleeding down until this kind of shows some momentum, some kind of bottoming out. Otherwise, on this falling knife, right, I expect us to kind of dump down till at least 100, in my opinion, right? Um, and yeah, I mean, I think guys coming into this week, there's not a lot of really good names. Everything is just consolidating. It's going to be based off earnings. So again, in my opinion, those best steps are going to be Microsoft and Apple. That's why I talked about those two. Otherwise, everything else is just choppy. Everything else is going to be choppy and based off price action if you do end up playing these names, right? But yeah, AMD. This name again, not really looking too good to trade. To be honest, right? Maybe if we reclaim 500 strong price action, you can kind of trade AMD back into this kind of big zone. But again, this name is more better off kind of having your long-term portfolio, I would say, because I have a long-term portfolio, so I'm more biased. But again, this name is kind of harder to trade options because we're clearly showing strong sellers stepping up on this name, making that chop. Otherwise, I think that's pretty much it, to be honest, for this video, right? How long it is? 7 minutes long video. So we went over NVIDIA, nothing really too crazy, right? Tesla, nothing too crazy. Oh, do we talk about Tesla? No, we didn't. No, we didn't. Tesla, again, guys, this higher time frame is bearish. So again, technically this higher time frame does look very bearish. So if Tesla does show weakness, and we do show weakness coming into Monday and Tuesday, we can look to short Tesla into these levels, down into this kind of 371.23 and this 369.96, right? They're clearly obvious levels of sell side liquidity on this name, right? We're clearly breaking below. We had this nice consolidation on Tesla, right? Nice consolidation, buyers stepping up 400 every single time, reclaiming above, and then we're breaking back below, reclaiming above, breaking back below. But now we're breaking back below again after this kind of consolidation. So now Tesla is for sure bearish on the higher time frame. And so if this kind of trend continues, then we can look to short this name back into these levels I have marked out here. So Tesla is actually going to be on watch next week for shorts. But again, we have to see where market opens up and also what the kind of entire market is doing, because these names just won't move just by themselves unless we show relative weakness, if that makes sense, right? So three main watches I would say is going to be Tesla puts for sure because higher time frame looks bearish, Apple longs because higher time frame looks bullish, Microsoft longs reclaim 400 because higher time frame looks good, and other names I would be patient and see what price action we show intraday, right? That is the most important thing. Price action, are we gapping up, gapping down? Are we showing bullish price action? Are we showing a break in retest? Are we showing higher highs and higher lows? Are we showing lower highs and lower lows? Those things are important as well, right? Again, these weekly outlooks, guys, are just helpful. They're not going to be overpowered in these market conditions, right? I would say weekly outlooks slash higher time frame are very helpful when it's extremely bullish and extremely bearish markets where there's clearly higher highs and higher lows being built. When majority's names are in consolidation and where it's clearly in chop, then the higher time frame is really not useful to look at, right? You're gonna be mainly trading based off price action then, and that's why you have to make sure your price action analysis is on point rather than your higher time frame. Because higher time frame, don't get me wrong, it's amazing, but price action is gonna be number one, right? Um, and yeah, holy shit, there's so many lines on pounds here. What the fuck? Hold on, why are there so many lines on pounds here? Jesus, yeah, that's way too many lines. When I have too many lines, I'll remove them and just rechart again. So again, how would I chart this name? I'll just quickly go over what I would chart. So again, Palantir, this is straight chop. So I'm not gonna look at this trace name at least until we're above 136. So if we're above 136, what are the liquidity levels am I gonna target, right? I'm gonna target this 137.64, this 138.73, and then that 139 whole number. Oh fuck, I moved it. Right, let's see if there's other pivot levels right here. Yeah, see this level right here is pivot level on the higher time frame. If you guys don't know how to mark your levels, first of all, you don't know how to trade then, because that's like the most important thing in my opinion. Second of all, watch my YouTube video on my main channel, right, on how to mark your higher time frame levels. Literally the best video known to mankind. Like literally the best video ever. Like absolutely insane. But yeah, see, clearly this area is a strong pivot level, so this is clearly a strong TP on Palantir. And for a downside, what would I have marked out? First of all, it's gonna be our previously low level, right? But second of all, this pivot level right here, the downside, and then There's multiple levels right here. I'll mark this 122. There's 122 as well, and then this 120. So those are the two that I'll have marked out. So upside for Palantir, right? Guys, this is how you chart, by the way. I'm literally dropping a sauce on how to chart pretty much. So again, right? What can we look on Palantir? First of all, this is choppy. But if we do show a bullish reaction on Palantir coming this week, I will look to trade like this, right? If we do this, I can enter on this retest right here, and then TP1, and then we can look for upside on this name, right? For a downside, strong gap down, we can play retest at a pretty low level, and then I expect TP1 to be right here, where you can do this, yeah, something like that, guys. So that's what you have to kind of understand how to chart. Otherwise, you're just gonna be clueless. It's that simple. Yeah, it's a long video. Okay, well, I said this video was gonna be short, and then I make it 10 minutes long, so that's kind of awkward. Yeah, if you guys got value, please comment down below telling me that you guys got some value from this video, because it does take some time out of my day. Anyway, otherwise, right, do not forget to like, subscribe, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Peace.